Hi, Shane here. You're watching Sam for God, and this is Mark. Check her out.
So hi guys, how are you doing? Ever since Frozen, the Disney film, came out, there's been this massive debate about which of the characters in Frozen is better. Is it Anna or Elsa? Which of these sisters is a better sister? Anna, by the way. And that made me think of another similar debate that goes on with one of my favourite musicals, Wicked. Ever since Wicked first opened on Broadway, there's always been this thing about which of the two lead characters is better or whatever. That happens with pretty much everything, any popular thing. People just like to take sides and say which of them they prefer or whatever. I mean, does anybody remember Twilight? Team Edward or Jacob? So inspired by that, today I want to talk about Glinda and Elphaba, and just a disclaimer, I'm not going to be saying which of the characters is better, because I don't think you can do that, because they're both very great characters and they've inspired many people around the world, and that's why Wicked as a show is an amazing show and it's been doing so well over the years. So I don't think there's any way to say which of the characters is better, but I'm going to tell you which of these two characters I prefer personally and which of these characters I relate to the most, I suppose. And yeah, I'm not sure if this is going to come as a surprise to anybody, but ever since I first saw Wicked back in 2007, my favourite character in the show has been Glinda, or Glinda, before she changes her name to Glinda. She's my favourite character in the show for a number of different reasons, but essentially I think it's because I relate to her the most out of all the characters in Wicked. Especially if you compare her to Elphaba's character, I definitely see more of myself in Glinda's character than I see in Elphaba's character. But again, that's just me, everybody's different, so everybody's relating to a different character. But for me, I just think that Glinda is the more interesting and fascinating and complex character of the two. I've always seen Elphaba as a bit of a one-sided, one-dimensional character, and that doesn't mean that I don't like Elphaba, because I do love Elphaba's character as well. It's just, I don't think there's much to her character, but that's just my opinion. With Glinda, I think she literally has so many different layers to her personality and to her character that it's always interesting to see her portrayed by any actress. And honestly, any actress that I've seen play her has played her a little bit different. I've never seen two Glindas be portrayed the exact same way, whereas I've definitely seen that with Elphabas. I've seen a few Elphabas who've been pretty much the same. And that's not because the actors were bad or anything, it's just because the character is very typical, I suppose, in a way. She's very easy to play in a typical way. But with Glinda, I love the fact that she starts off as this really popular, happy-go-lucky girl who really only cares about having fun, and then she literally goes on a journey throughout the show. The change that you see in Glinda's character from Act 1 to Act 2 is something great that you don't see in very many musicals, in my opinion. Whereas Elphaba's character, it's been done in other shows before. Girl gets bullied, decides to stand up for herself, and learns that she can be strong without paying attention to the bullies. Essentially, that's what Elphaba's character is, although obviously there's more to her character, but that's her basic storyline, that's the basic journey that she goes on. Whereas Glinda, I think, is a character that you don't see very much in musicals. And I think she's written so well. Her character development throughout the show is done very, very well. And yeah, like I said before, I just simply relate to Glinda's character a lot more than I relate to Elphaba's. Now don't get me wrong, when I say I relate to Glinda's character, I don't mean all the obvious stuff. Because I think when most people think of Glinda, the first thing that comes to their head is the fact that she's popular and she loves all these materialistic things and that she's all girly and stuff, and I'm definitely none of those. But that's the thing with Glinda's character, that's the first things that you notice about Glinda. Whereas there's so much more to her character that you find out when you kind of get to know her story. And when I say I relate to Glinda, I mean about the more deep things inside Glinda, not her like physical stuff that she just loves materialistic things and is popular and all that. There's so much more to Glinda than what you see when you first see her character. I feel like essentially Glinda's a nice person from the start, or at least that's how I see her. She just wants to have fun and lead a simple life. She's never mean to anybody on purpose or anything. You can see that her friends actually love her and admire her, and that's because she's actually nice to them. She just happens to have found herself in a position of popularity where people admire her, and the way I see it is that she never really takes advantage of it. She's happy to be there and stuff, but she's not a bad person. She still cares about people. And if she does come across a bit obnoxious in the first act especially, it's just because she doesn't know any better. That's the life she's always led. She's always wanted a simple life, a carefree life, and that doesn't make her a bad person. It just means that that's the way she's been, that's the way she is, pretty much. She prefers to have an easy life, and I'm pretty much the same. I've been told this by pretty much everybody, my family, my friends, anybody who knows me, usually says that I generally prefer a very easy, happy life. I don't like confrontations, I don't like serious stuff. If something very sad happens in my life, although I do find it sad and cry or whatever for a bit, I try to move on from it quickly because I hate being stuck in a sad position for a long time. I hate it, I just don't like it at all. And that's one of the reasons I can't relate to Elphaba's character, because she just cares too much about all these things, and she's angry and she's upset and she's all determined to like change the world and all that, and I'm not like that at all. I can't be bothered with all that. Feel free to judge me for that, but I'm just being honest, I'm not like that. I just don't see the point in drama and over-analysing things and overthinking things. So I choose to ignore things that are like that in my life. and instead focus on all the good things that I have and be happy about them instead of being sad about the bad things in my life. And I think that's how Glinda is as well, essentially, when it comes down to it. So yeah, that's why I prefer Glinda's character overall, and I always have, and every time I go and see the show, her character is always the more interesting one for me out of Glinda and Elphaba. I think I've probably seen about 10 people play the role of Glinda live, or maybe a bit more than that, and every single one of them has put their stamp on it and has played it a little bit different to the other actresses. Whereas with Elphaba, even though I've probably seen about, 14 people play her, I can only really see maybe 3 or 4 different interpretations of it in my head, because most of them tend to play her very similar, and like I said, that's not their fault. I think it's just because it's in Elphaba's character to be played a certain way. One of my friends actually said a very clever thing a while ago to me. She said that she thinks that Glinda's character is more about acting, whereas Elphaba's character is more about singing. And I agree with her, I think. I think Glinda's character needs a very strong actress to be able to portray her growth throughout the show very well, whereas Elphaba obviously needs a very strong singer to be able to hit those notes and define gravity and no good deed. Obviously, it's the best case scenario when you get somebody in both roles that can do both of them very well, like both acting and singing. For instance, with Elphaba, Nikki Davies-Jones is an actress that I think can do both very, very well. She's an incredible actress, and in fact, that's why I love her Elphaba so much. I mean, her voice is obviously incredible, but for me, it's the acting with Nikki that I think does it. She's really made Elphie what I think Elphie is in my head, and she's made her very different to all the other Elphas I've seen, and that's why I really think she's amazing. With Glinda as well, I think most of the Glindas that I've seen have had incredible voices, so yeah, they're great actresses and great voices, and that's why I love Glinda's character. So yeah, to sum this video up, I personally relate more to Glinda's character than to Elphaba's character, because of all the stuff that I mentioned previously, but mainly because I just prefer to lead a happy life without any worries in my life, and all Elphaba really cares about is standing up for injustice and changing the world and caring about the little things like animals and stuff, and no, that is not me at all. Even if I care about little things, I don't focus on them enough to literally make my life about them, which is what Elphaba does, really. That doesn't make me a better person, of course it doesn't, because I think what Elphaba does in the show is amazing, and honestly I think that's something that you should learn about, everyone should learn about her determination to make good things happen and stuff. But if I'm being honest, I'm not like that, and I don't think I've ever been like that, and I don't think I ever will become like that. But of course, when it comes down to it, I think I've got a bit of both of them in myself. I've got a bit of Glinda's character, probably more of Glinda's character, maybe about 70% of Glinda's character, and 30% of Elphaba's character, and this is exactly why Wicked's such an amazing show and why it's been doing so well, because I think everybody can relate to one of the characters at least, or maybe both of them even. And I also think that's why the whole balance between these characteristics is very important, and that's why the whole song of For Good is performed in the show, because I think For Good is a song that literally shows what balance is about, and both Glinda and Elphaba learn something from each other throughout the show, and that comes across in For Good, the song. And that's how they complete each other, which I think is why it's good to have a little bit of both Glinda and Glinda in your character, because they both have some good stuff going on for them, but they also have a lot to learn, and they learn that from each other. So yeah, at the moment I think I'm more similar to Glinda, but I definitely want to become a bit more like Elphaba, because yeah, I think although I do want to be happy and stuff, I think the fact that she is determined to care so much about stuff and stand up for what she believes and all that. Not that I don't do that, it's just I don't do it to the extent that she does. I think it's great, and I admire that in Elphaba's character, so yeah, I do definitely love both Elphie's character and Glinda's character. I just thought it'd be an interesting discussion to talk about both their characters and let you know which of these characters I personally prefer and relate to the most. And for me that's Glinda, but for you it might be different, so if you've watched this far, please leave comments in the section below and let me know which of the characters you personally connect to the most. And give me your reasons why as well, because I'd love to read them and find out more about your opinions. That's all I have for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching as always, and I'll see you next time. Bye!